Hey, we've got the crew. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:31. And let's go ahead and get started. We do not have any guests. Do we have any guests online? Okay. So we'll go ahead and go forth. Do you have a council report for us, Jerry?
I really don't have a report. I do want to I know most of you probably already know, but we lost an amazing person. Our city attorney, Peter Watts, passed. It was he was a good man. He did a lot for the city. I sat next to him right next to him for years, and I'm already starting to tear up talking about it. But the Monday before, I had a great conversation with him during the meeting. I had a great conversation with him in the parking lot afterwards. And then I think it was the next Thursday, he passed. It's a terrible loss for the city of Estacada, and hopefully we can find, I doubt we're going to find anybody that's going to put in the effort that he did, but hopefully we can find somebody that comes close. I do want to say, I haven't seen you since you were reappointed, but congratulations. I don't know if you know how hard we fought, but we fought hard.
I was gonna say it was no effort of mine. It was definitely
But
thank you.
I really appreciate the fact that you reapplied. It was really brave knowing what you were up against, and appreciate that you reapplied, because you do mean a lot to this committee. So, but just appreciation for everybody, of course. City council relies a lot on you, on the committees and commissions, and please don't take anything that has happened. Don't take away from the fact that we do have faith and we do have trust in you guys. It might not seem like it with some decisions that have been made, but we do have a lot of faith and a lot of trust in you guys. So keep doing the work that you do. We appreciate it.
We're going forth with blind optimism and enthusiasm. Thank you, Jerry. Would everyone take a moment to review the June minutes? Thank you, Bev, for scribing it all. They were quite, we really put you to work.
I move to approve the minutes as circulated.
Seconded.
All right, those in favor? Aye.
Is there any discussion?
I think we're good. Alex, quick question about, we did spend some time moving to approve purchases. Do we have to move to approve every single little purchase, or is we just the big purchases? I'm just thinking about
all together. Like,
okay,
we moved to spend this much money on these items.
Okay.
You can do it all in one. That's fine.
okay, because it could be, I'm thinking about what I'm about to ask later, and it would be a little bit more general.
Yeah.
With like,
yeah.
you know, I don't want to be like, we'll spend $25.78
No.
on bubbles for
No.
the event. Okay.
No, it can be general. It's okay.
Okay. Great. Okay. We have quite a bit of new things in our financial statements. Lots of vendor fees have come in. And oh, even since I last looked, there's another one. Awesome. I'm going to change that. And there should have been a check that's coming in the mail for Michael or for Beat. I'm going to say her name wrong. Beat. Okay, there's one more that should be coming from a spiral artist. Okay, great. And yep, those are the sign printing is for the yard signs, as well as a couple of the larger signs for Arts at the Creek, which we'll talk about later. But I have in my truck so that we can grab some and, you know, go forth and advertise. All right. The mail I've handed, will you hand that down to Isabella? Mm-hmm. The only mail that we had was for the art back for everybody. And that's a solicitation for donations for their new mural that they're putting up at the high school pharmacy. And other than that, it's been a flurry of correspondence about Arts at the Creek. And we also had one artist reach out about perhaps doing a painting workshop in the fall. And I let her know that that's exactly the kind of thing we were talking about like sponsoring a painting workshop, and we would provide the materials for free, and then help sponsor it, but then, so I told them we would get back to them in August. So that's coming down the line at us as well.
And when does she want to do it?
She said in the fall. She just said in the fall.
And our efforts would also include promotion.
Mhm, mhm. So we don't quite have the bandwidth to respond to that in this moment, but if we talk about it at our August meeting, we could maybe make a decision about it then. And perhaps, should I maybe invite her to the August meeting just to chat about it?
Yeah. that
Since
would
I
be a
feel like
good
we'll have
plan.
time.
Then we can have all, if we have any questions, we can get them answered at.
Yeah, and then we could just take immediate action. If she's able. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and go on to poetry in public places. Is there an update? See Vince is not here, but have you heard from him or?
Yes, we exchanged emails today and he apparently got busy with the new job and wasn't able to wrap up the details we talked about last time. He said he would do it this weekend. And I said, well, I'll check with him next week. Now, if you trust Vince and me to take that to the printer, I will do that next week. And then I hope when we meet in August, we can start talking about where to place the signs. I have one question about identifying authors, the kite. It says Dennis Baird, and then it has Danielle in parentheses. Do we know which of
Yeah.
those two?
Danielle submitted on Dennis's behalf. Dennis has passed. So
But it's his writing.
it's his poem. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I am often confused about those things. I know couples
Yeah.
often do one
Yeah.
email and then sometimes they indicate who they are and sometimes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
so this Dennis would go on the line.
Yep.
That's where I am. If you want to trust Vincent and me to follow through on what you told us, I'll get that to the printer next week.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll bring it back in August. And in August, we'll have to decide about locations or start planning general locations. I think the city parks people will make the final decisions. But the general locations would be good.
Okay,
Anything to add, Deborah? Okay. Save your energy for later. Okay.
you want to do it at the end?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready for me to talk.
Well, you're next on the docket, so you have your time now.
All right. So yes, I have updates about Chalk Walk. But first I want to say this is going to be my last meeting. I am stepping down from the commission, but I will still be your person on the inside at the library for art at the library and any other kind of partnership stuff that we want to do and collaborate on. Yeah, I just don't have the bandwidth for a lot of the outside volunteering right now. We've got all the chalk tucked away under multiple desks at the library, and Alex printed up some awesome labels for us. Jesse has 2 boxes ready to be labeled that'll go to Artsmith and Yo Treats. Donnell is ready and waiting. She wants it as soon as possible to give out on the 4th of July. And then we'll be doing the labels on what we have left at the library. And I'm gonna reserve just a whole box to have for Arts at the Creek. I think that would just be really a nice thing to have to give out to everyone who comes there.
Okay, well, she blew right past that, so I'm gonna rewind. And thank you so much for all of your service on the Arts Commission. You've been on the Arts Commission for so very long and put so much.
Too long technically.
We just really appreciate you. Literally don't know how we are gonna function without you. And we just really appreciate all that you've done. So thank you so much.
Yes.
You will be very missed. And still my emotional support human.
Absolutely. I will always be your emotional support co-chair.
We will need to we still have open spots. That takes us down quite a bit to just the 5 of us and Isabella. So we want to make sure that we're promoting ourselves and talking to people and just getting more people on board. So let's make sure we continue to promote that opening. Yes.
So just moving forward after today, just putting my city council hat on, just remember that, after today, a quorum of you guys is
3.
two, no, three, yeah, majority. So no more than two people to a subcommittee until we get new members. And no more than two people to a conversation outside of the meetings. So just keep that in mind as we move forward.
Is Deborah technically still a commissioner until the next meeting?
I consider, yeah, because I'm still
Yeah,
volunteering
okay.
for Arts at the Creek.
Okay, yeah, so
Can
yeah.
you give an
so-
end date to after Arts of the Creek so Alicia and Mike and I can talk about
Yeah,
Arts of the Creek?
first or something. How about we'll say August 1st?
Yeah.
Like I just need the two of them in the same place for like a day.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you for that reminder, for sure.
Deborah, would you also consider soliciting some interest from your other librarian folk?
Oh, yeah.
Some of the, maybe just float the idea out there. I'm thinking Zach, and who's the other woman that does the book club?
They're not
Estacada
residents.
residents.
Yeah,
Yeah, just faithful and amazing, awesome employees.
yeah. So I mean, we're all ready and willing to collaborate on programs and do cool stuff. So
So-
don't hesitate to reach out to Zach or to Roxanne for anything.
Okay.
Or me.
So two groups that I would target for recruitment, Spiral Gallery for one, and then the Art Back. If anybody involved in Spiral Gallery or the Art Back, wants a voice on, the arts in the city of Estacada, this is the opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great, I might go to their, I was gonna try to pop into the Spiral Gallery's next co-op meeting anyway, just to remind them about Arts at the Creek, so maybe I could tell them that we have openings on the commission and.
Yeah.
Um,
And then if anybody has any contacts with, they're probably going to be at the Spiral Gallery, but
Right.
Art Back would be another, group to target
Mhm.
absolutely.
because they do a lot of art. They do a lot, they do the murals. So,
Right.
be
Do
great.
they have like monthly or,
I don't
quarterly
know.
meetings or
They,
anything?
they
Or is
sort
that-
of meet as needed. They're sort of a hard group to get a hold of because they're a little disparate, except for when they like come together for the mural.
Yeah, Carl Haugen he was our insider.
Right.
When he was on the commission. So,
Yeah,
Um,
he's come to the co-op. He was at the co-op meeting. He's a good,
Yeah.
you can track him down there, hopefully. So, okay, great. On that note, this wasn't on the agenda when we were making the agenda, but, Deborah, I'm thinking about, was it Nina that reached out to you? My inbox is a little,
Yes. No, I see it on here. The block printing workshop.
oh, it is there.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Never mind. Okay, I'm gonna wait a minute. Thank you. My brain is really full. Okay, so, Arts at the Creek updates. Alicia and I were running a tad late because we just sat down to sort of chat about all of these things. As of July 1st, I should say July 2nd, we have 26 adult vendors, art vendors who have paid and confirmed, with 2 more who have confirmed. We're just waiting on payment. So theoretically about 28 adult vendors. We have 15 youth vendors who will be at a total of 10 booths because some kids are, one is coming from a couple of them are coming from the same family or combining efforts. And 13 community organizations, including some new ones that haven't participated before.
Wow.
So it's pretty exciting.
Very good.
So
Almost 50?
51
Over 50.
booth spots,
Okay.
which is pretty exciting. Yeah, you and I sketched out at least 60 theoretical ones last year.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna get out our map. It's gonna be fine.
You still have our map?
how many
Sure do.
booths did you guys have last year?
Last year, I think combined with adult and youth vendors, I think we had about 26 combined.
So you've
this year.
doubled
Yeah.
in a year, you've doubled your booths. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. And I'm excited to have some community organizations that signed up that like, I don't even know where they heard about us, but here they just joined right in. So I'm excited about it. And So that's great news. We're still lacking on the food cart situation, but I wanted to update us. We do have our GDC, Andy will be there with his frozen treats and corn maybe. We have Pam will be there with her kettle corn, Christy will be there. And unfortunately, the Girl Scouts had to pull out. They weren't able to coordinate having a booth. They were just gonna do like a student store snack booth. Which is sort of basically what we did the very first year, where we just sold snacks and bottled water and things like that. So Alicia and I were talking about it. I really feel like that sort of fulfilled a need that wasn't being fulfilled by the other food vendors. So
Yeah.
I think that we should take that on with the raffle again and just have like dollar snacks, dollar drinks, until we run out. I think that helps families and parents who just want to buy a little snack that's a little healthier. We didn't make a ton of money on it, but we definitely didn't lose money on it. So, and somebody's going to be manning that table anyway because of the raffle. So it'll be kind of a draw and then like, oh, you want to buy 4 things. Do you want a raffle ticket with that? You know, it's $1 more for your 5. It might just be easier to upsell people to do the raffle. So I think that we will do that again if everybody's on board with that. The one piece of that was a little bit complicated this year because we're not doing the reimbursement is that last time that I did this, I went to like grocery outlet to like hunt down some deals. So, and I don't know if this is ethically in the clear, but I'm on up and up. So I'm just going to say it. Is it okay if I go ahead and just put my own dollars on the line with it and then pay myself back and whatever we earn on top of that will just be like a donation on top of it? Just because I don't want to just send, it's not something I want to order on Amazon. Like the way we were able to make that a deal was to be able to go to like a discount grocery and get some like organic snacks that were on sale
And to get like a pallet of like little Gatorades and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
I mean, I think last year, or the first year that we did it, I think I spent like 50 or 60 bucks. It was not a huge amount.
Could I ask you to talk
With
to
that-
Melanie, because she was very clear that was not to happen.
Oh, petty cash.
Petty cash?
Yeah, that all purchases, there's no such thing as fronting petty cash. But just verify, I could be
Or-
wrong.
Reimbursement.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
Okay.
Well, good.
I think I spent $60 last time.
Yeah, so we were thinking like if she went and bought $60 worth of snacks and then made $80, she just pays herself back for, and keeps her receipts and not stuff.
Mhm.
And then everything else would go in the same money pile that the raffle money goes to, which is also our donation jar type of thing.
Just, I think it would be the easiest way to do that. But hopefully that will be okay. Okay, that would be great. And we have the Casimir Effect and Cody Allen and the Crossroads are gonna be there. We also have confirmation from Charlotte, who will do our face painting, and we're hiring her for the full 6 hours, and she'll be in the building where we'll have like tables and chairs set up and face painting and like community art tables where people can draw on things on the tables in the building.
And Barb and
Rick and Barb.
Are Rick and Barb
We're
gonna
trying
be?
to-
they were
we're-
in the last
We're trying to work
minute.
them in. It's a little tricky because of the sort of switchover, but I think maybe if we start, I mean, the event kicks off at noon.
Mhm.
If we start a little bit earlier, or if we have Casimir show up to do setup and sound check a little earlier, I'm just sort of corresponding with those guys. I'm thinking we can have Rick and Barb's whole set sort of on the side. They don't really have too big of a demand as far as the PA is concerned, so try and work them in. And they won't take any money, so it doesn't really affect the budget.
When is the first band playing?
It's, the blocks are 1 to 3 and then 4 to 6.
Okay, so if maybe Rick and Barb wanted to set up at noon and play
Yeah.
that first
Yeah,
hour.
I mean, cause we'll be down there at 8:39.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
So-
it's like we can have them set up if they just want to do a little lead off or whatever, and that wouldn't really affect the first band. So like I said, I'm sort of still in,
So the in-between is from 3 to 4, or can we do the raffle at like 3:45?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
That sort of, yeah, because waiting until the very end of the day seemed a little bit,
And did they
was
want to,
chaotic.
would Rick and Barb play at like 3, from like 3 to 3:30?
that's what I was thinking, is having them in between.
Yeah.
Or maybe even.
Or
do
if they
like
don't mind
30
doing both,
minute-
doing
that's
half an hour
also been part
at
of
the beginning
discussion.
and half an hour in
So,
the middle?
Yep, and part of the deal is my buddy Paul, who's kind of the head engineer, he's 70 now. We're just trying to figure out what he'll tolerate as far as commotion, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Well, just the second band is like a 6-piece rock and roll
Right.
country that they were like, oh, do you have a back line? And I was like, no,
Dang.
you're bringing your own equipment. That's not what this is. So it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to be a squeeze to get tore down and set back up and sound checked in an hour.
Well, but could also be just songs and music playing, right? It doesn't have to.
Right. I
necessarily
mean,
be
that's
someone
generally what we
playing.
would do, is just play some music in between over the
Right.
PA.
Or if they, I mean, if Rick and Barb didn't want to play on the state, if they, like you said,
Well, then there's that too. We could
Yeah.
have a sort of satellite PA
yeah,
that, because they're a smaller setup, have them someplace with just like one speaker. Right. I mean, I have a completely
yeah,
separate,
like the little
small
patio where
PA.
like the little tables are or something.
Right.
And
That's
then-
actually probably the best.
And then they're out of the way for load in
Yeah,
or
could
load
we
out, load
put
in.
them next to where we'll table for?
For the raffle?
Yeah, raffle.
Totally. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
it could be under the overhang
Okay,
right there.
that is something.
We
that
don't
I
have
could-
anything there except for us and our like one little table, so.
Well, and then in that case too, Paul could sort of head the changeover. And
Mhm.
then I can get Rick and Barb set up, and it's relatively simple, plug in.
that's a
To
good
have them
plan.
in a separate little spot. Okay,
Can you get for me or ask them for some promotional images?
Rick and Barb.
Rick and Barb and Cody Allen in the Crossroads. Just because I'm gonna try to plan some social media posts over the next couple weeks to promote those things. And on the promotion, like I said, I have signs. We're working on getting those up. If you guys each want to take 1 to 2 signs to put at your house or nearby. Our rules are it can go on private property as long as it has permission of the property owner. It can go on city property, but I'm gonna try to go and do some at the parks. And we don't want to put any along the highway or too close to the roads. They'll just get taken down. How far, do you know what the distance is that's ODOT? I'm kind of looking at where other signs have been that have been there for a while, putting things there. Yeah, do you know more about that?
Yeah, we're looking into it because we have a sign issue with, out on the highway.
Mm-hmm,
It's anything within view of the
Gotcha.
highway.
okay.
So where my house is, right? Could I put a
Your-
sign
your-
like about by my mailbox, like you could see it from the 211,
It,
but it's on the property I own?
yes,
Private
Okay.
property.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
It, apparently it doesn't matter whether it's on private property or not. If it's within view of the highway, ODOT has jurisdiction.
Huh.
So,
I know I noticed there was a lot of sign code conversation at the last city council meeting,
Yeah.
so I'm like, let's go for yards and businesses.
Yeah.
And
Um,
keep it on city property.
Oh, so we were talking about putting one on private property with the permission of the owner, of course. That's on Eagle Creek Road. Is that
Not a highway,
not
it's still,
more? It was.
technically.
it's still can count, it's a county road.
Okay.
So, you're under Clackamas County's,
Sign
ordinances at that
policy,
point, yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a tricky situation that we haven't solved yet.
Yeah, okay.
We will do our best and do our best to keep track of the
You know,
signs.
Worst,
where we're using.
worst thing that happens is the sign you might lose a sign,
Right,
Right.
so,
But notice the on 211 anyway, of them being too, I mean, I had my vote for the school bond signed, that, and you could see it from
and
211, I never had an issue.
the stuff up across from Hayden Road on 211
Mhm.
doesn't seem to get
Taken down. Yeah,
so,
totally.
Yeah,
Okay,
they might just be concentrating on 224. I'm not sure.
okay.
So we'll just do our best to
The
comply.
chicken coop has been for sale there for
Yes.
30 years, I think.
You know how many times I think, I'm just gonna go in there and see what this coop's all about, because our coop has fallen down. I've never, I ain't made it yet, 12 years.
So on the promotion piece as well, I have finally did make contact with Pamplin. There have been major layoffs and there is a single person. Yeah, that person that you gave me doesn't even work there anymore. Yep, one person is
Aren't they
the,
closing down all print?
no, they're
Oh.
just firing everybody so that there's like, there's one person involved for Gresham, Sandy and Estacada.
Oh, dang.
Is one person now. He is like, I can get your information on the little bulletin board thing, but as far as like doing whole stories, he's pretty slammed.
Yeah.
So we don't really have too much going on in the pamphlet. I'm not sure how much that gives us anyway. But that's disappointing to hear. But we'll at least get something in there where it has like, you know, the events that are happening in Estacada.
Yeah, I subscribe to that, and I think
Yeah, I
they've
do
been doing
too.
a good job of covering area events for the various towns.
Often they'll be more acceptable to it if it's put in the form of a press release.
Mhm.
All they
That's
do
what-
is reprint it.
Mhm.
You know,
I
there-
can maybe ask him, like, if we gave you a press release, would you be able to print it?
Yes.
The other thing is to make sure that you get your, you get the information to the Downtown Estacada Commission so they can put it in their newsletter also.
Oh, I saw at Time Travelers, I was dropping off flyers today, and they have these cute little blue, almost like bigger than a bookmark, about the size of a double bookmark, and it's like things going on in Estacada, and we're on there. It's got all the little things.
Yeah,
It's not a door hanger exactly, but it's like
they changed it this
a
year.
somewhat substantial little thing that you could keep around, put on your fridge, and it was nice. Who put those out? Was that
That's downtown.
Town.
Okay,
Julie Colton is one of the owners of Time Travelers and she's on the commission,
okay,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, they like to do that. It's a neat little thing. It's a huge amount of money that they spend on that, but it does get out there.
Yeah, I mean,
So I was glad we got Arts on the Creek on it this year. It wasn't on it the last couple of
yeah,
years.
it was on it.
Yeah.
I checked.
Well, she and I were in communication about it. And then Alex, I wanted to check with you. We wanted to do the Facebook promotion.
Not been able to do that yet, but I did check on the pricing. And
Okay.
it is $50 was like the price. So I'll get that going on Monday
Okay.
with Sadie. I just gotta get her credit card.
Okay,
So yeah, we'll get that going Monday. I kind of figured like the last month before would
Perfect.
kind of be the best time to do it anyway.
Mhm.
So you'll get
Do we
a
have
good
to-
reach. It said like 3,000 to 8,000.
Awesome.
reach per
Do we
day.
have to have a
So
motion to spend that or?
We already
We already did last month.
We
Yeah.
did that last month.
Yep.
And then I'm working on doing the sandwich boards.
Yep.
Up at Farmer's Market. I did it at the concert and then I forgot about it and it rained and I ruined my poster. So on that note, I need to ask if we can reprint the posters. I left it there and it got rained on. So I need to reprint. I want to just have it be the same as we've done before. So it's the last Saturday in July. We can use it again next year. And
With no date. That
with
makes
no
sense,
date.
yeah.
I'm just done with dates and people can look it up.
Oh, Saturday, July.
Look, I don't want to pay for this every year, so
Yeah,
it just
that's
makes
smart.
sense. And the posters are kind of expensive. I think last year I had like 4 or 5 of them printed and it was like $80 or $90 to have them printed on the big thick paper. So I would like to make a motion that I can spend approximately that amount of money, probably less because I'm only gonna be doing 2. So maybe $40 or $50 on printing the signs for the sandwich board again. And I promise I'll take better care of them this time. Maybe I can laminate them. That was my
I
bad.
second your motion for $50 for reprinting.
Thank you. Those in favor?
Idea.
Yes?
Canva can do banners. What if you did like banner size that could go over the sandwich board and then it would be more permanent.
Do one on each, like, that would fold over the top?
Yeah. I don't know. They
I
have
have
a lot of
turnaround
different-
time for printing something
Yeah.
and delivering. That's my,
Yeah.
What's that?
we would need it really fast. I don't know if Canva turns it around that fast. Do they? Do we know?
I've gotten stuff from them within days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll check,
Nice.
so I will check Canva pricing and see if it's better. Okay, great. So last month we talked about doing.
Still have a motion on the floor.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
Sorry.
Rewind. Thank you for the second. Those in favor to spend approximately $50 on reprinting the posters? Aye.
I,
Aye. All right, motion passes. The last meeting, we talked about how we weren't able to do like a bounce house or something like that at the end to try to draw people down. My new and improved simplified idea, I think that if we make the very end part be, and I thought about this last year, just didn't get a chance to actually do it, be like sort of a family hang area and maybe have a table where we have bubbles and rock painting. The rock painting was a huge hit when we did that the first year. It wouldn't take really any staffing except for making sure supplies are there. And then maybe have out some yard games, something simple like cornhole and a hula hoop and some simple things like that, sort of at the very end. So you would have art vendors. We would have, I'm working on trying to figure out, and I'm going to talk to you about this, Mike, making like a banner or some signage of some sort that's like free art activities. And then we will have community resources
We talked about.
about the signs. We can talk about that at a different time, I think, because it's smaller. But then, so it'll be art vendors, youth and adult, and then some sort of signage that says like free art activities or community organization activities. And then have our community organizations, and then just past that have like bubbles and rock painting and a couple yard games, just so you can just like decompress and kids can just decompress over there and do some small things.
And run around.
Have you thought about misters, like having a
I don't know if there's water
canopy,
all the way.
canopy set up with misters at some place for like cooling station?
Not, but I will look into that. Isabella, were you gonna say something?
I had this idea, like maybe during that you could do like, one of those maypoles with like
Oh, the ribbon?
yeah.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be really cool. And we actually have those super tall PVC things that were like the flags too. That would be so
That would be close to
exciting.
the splash pad.
they're still in my house, by the way.
The fence.
So it would be, all of this that I'm talking about would be in this sort of like flat area that's right by those little exercise machines.
Mhm. Near the little walking bridge.
Yeah.
Jerry, do you know if the city has, I know we have pop-ups. Does the city have any cooling station kind of
I
supplies?
don't know.
Okay, or I
Alex
wonder if the
says no.
community center has them. I'm just thinking that.
I know that
someplace we can-
at one point, I don't know if they belong to the nonprofit that was in the community center, but I
Right.
know at one point they did have, misters at the community center, but
There's someplace we could borrow that from. rather
Well,
than
but
deploy
do we
money.
know the water situation at the Wade Creek
No.
thing?
well,
Like,
we know that there's water supply there because the splash pad, but I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
not going all the way to the splash pad.
Yeah,
Just in terms of like having like a faucet.
Exactly.
That was
And a
my thought.
hose,
Mhm.
like just, is that
There's irrigation out there. I think the
Yeah.
closest faucet is gonna be the one
At the
on the
roof.
back of the librry. I don't. No,
Oh.
there's
I
feel like
probably
there's a faucet
on the back of the
on the
community
Wade,
room.
the Wade building
one.
by the air conditioning compressors, but
Yeah.
also it might be.
No idea though.
We'd have to have
Not
something that would
public.
be a little bit far away because you don't want any moisture near vendors.
Yeah.
Is the tricky part.
yeah,
Yeah.
just having something like that, just a cooling station at the
I do think
last
having the
Saturday
building,
of July.
having the building open is gonna make a big difference.
So,
And if
yeah.
it's really hot, then we don't have to have all the doors open and we can have the air conditioning running, and that will be in itself a good cooling down space too.
People don't have to like just sit on the grass in like the blazing sun to
Mhm.
eat. I think
So
that
if
would
we're gonna do that,
Or
this
to
is
sit.
under my, like, asking about purchasing because that would include bubbles, some more paint markers, and probably a couple cans of like spray paint to coat the rocks. Maddie was the one that did that last time, but I think if I get some spray paint to coat the rocks to do like a base color paint on it. And the other thing on this list, and this might have been solved in the last year, but I somehow doubt it. Are there door jams at that building yet?
Yes.
I would like to include a purchase of, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
But some like
can-
industrial door jams because the struggles that I've put in with those doors.
Yeah.
Cause
Too
we,
much.
we want people specifically to know they can go in there.
Yeah,
And
the doors are very hard to keep open.
yeah,
And I think if we bought them, then we could write Wade Creek Community Room on them or something and keep them like underneath the sink. Like I aim to solve this problem for other
I
people.
think the city can probably buy some.
The city needs to buy some,
We could
but
buy
we need
some.
like some industrial,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
some ones that will actually function.
we can buy some.
We've really
Great.
battled with those
Commission
doors.
doesn't need to buy.
like
door stops for the
4.
building.
Some door stops would be amazing.
Yeah.
How many doors are there? 5? 2 double doors and one
There's a single door, 2, 3 sets of double doors.
That's
5,
a double door in the back door.
7. Yeah, get like an 8-pack.
This is like on my notes from last year was like, deal with the doors.
That would
Okay,
be
so
fantastic.
If we do that, if we leave the doors open, we do have to turn the AC off.
Yes.
We don't
Well,
want to
yeah,
crank
and
it all
it'll
day.
be
Yeah.
heat day dependent.
and I guess that's
too.
a question to ask the group too. And Alicia and I talked about it, like in previous years, we had that room was strictly for like supplies and for tie dye. So it wasn't like a come on in. So the kind of the question is, do we need to officially sort of make that? Do we need to have a little sign that says, come on in? Do we just let there be a flow?
With the face painters in there, so she's gonna put her sign right outside
Yeah,
the
she'll
door.
probably have her sign.
Well, and the idea is to have the AC off, but have the building available for people to sort of shelter in.
Like
Or-
tables,
so-
somewhere to
I
eat,
think it's-
that's
If we
not,
have the doors
your
open
lap.
And there's stuff going on in there, and we just have, like, with any other event we would be doing, where we just have tables and chairs set up.
yep,
I think it'll be fairly sort of evident.
Well, I think if it's really hot, I think we kind of have to be flexible about that, about the doors being open or closed.
yeah,
Because if it's really hot, we might want most of the doors to be closed and like one door propped open, but then we literally could print out on a couple like 8.5 by 11, like, come on in and like tape it to the other doors. So
Yeah.
people know like the doors are unlocked and you can come
And
in.
we can also tell people that over the PA.
I was, yeah,
Just
and
the-
That's a good
went
idea
at the
too.
raffle table, cause our table is right outside
If we
the
want to
door.
get your kids out of the heat for a little while,
Yeah.
take them in and give them a juice box and let them sit down. and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And hopefully it'll be fairly evident that it's like a new and different thing we're doing this year compared to previous years. I'm just thinking about people that have come more than once will be like, we don't go in there because that's a different thing. So, okay, well, we can play it by ear and then I do think we could print out just some simple color signs that's like, come on in if we do close the doors. Cause I think it really depends on the weather.
Yeah,
If it's really hot, we just need to have the air conditioning on and prop open a door.
We'll just have to make sure when we're doing setup that we're organized because
Mhm.
we've got canopy covers and
Yeah, I put-
carts and all that kind of stuff that is gonna need a place.
Yeah, I
that
think
can
we'll
all
have
go in
a-
that back room though,
It won't
right?
all-
Especially when all the tables are out of it. When most of the tables and chairs are out of it, there's a lot more space.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay, that might work.
But we might also have to, like, we'll have like wheelbarrows and stuff for people to use for vendors. We need a place for that kind of stuff. So we'll just have to sort of see what the space looks
Mhm.
like. But I think if we needed to cordon off a little area, that would be okay.
I know Parks and Rec were going to build their own cornhole games. And at the end of the family, I don't know when or if it's been completed. It might be something to follow up, to know, and they can have their signage and brand it, I don't care.
Yeah,
But if they have some lawn games
awesome.
prepared for.
They have a
something like
ton
that,
of frisbees too.
That would be great.
That's a Portland or Estacada.
I
Parks and
love
Rec.
Estacada Parks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
So we
reach
can
out.
put the frisbees out at well, I don't know if they're gonna have a table or not. Are they having a table? Do you know?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so yeah, we can put the frisbees out at the activity area.
Yeah, we could just have them out. My thought was just to have some sort of area where kids can run around and be crazy and have something to do that's not.
And
um,
also follow through
And also, yeah, like the
move 'em through.
carrot to make them go all the way through, like bubbles, shiny things over here. Drag, because that was the only issue at this park is that it just doesn't have a flow to it. So we want to make sure we get people all the way through. I do think it will help a little having the splash pad going on a hot Saturday. I think people will, walk all the way through for that also. So I think that was it for Arts at the Creek.
I wanted,
Oh, we wanted to talk about volunteers.
well, and I also wanted to know if there's an update about the daily guarantee situation that we talked about the last meeting.
Oh, yes, thank you. I meant to bring that up. So, so that was the question about the food cart. The food cart that wanted the daily guarantee was not able to come, right? The pizza.
Yeah,
They booked literally
they
in that time period.
booked within that week.
Oh, wow.
Prime Saturday in July. It was lucky that they were even open.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's unfortunately. But Melanie said, go for it. She said that's not a problem. She just said, that will have to, if you can make space for that in your budget. So we would have to make sure that was part of the budget if we did do that. I talked to Christy about it, and Christy said that was very nice of us for being concerned about it. She would never ask for a guarantee. She wouldn't mind if we offered a guarantee to somebody else, and that she would basically do anything for us anytime because she's all about local. I told her we would love to do the same thing for her, and she said she wouldn't accept it, but she appreciates it.
Oh. So the
Um,
point is moot, at
the
least
point
for
is,
now.
and I kind of expected that
This summer.
response, but I wanted to let her know that we want to make sure that she's getting the same treatment.
No,
as everyone else.
100%,
And
like,
I mean, she is fabulous. She also was like, I'll talk to other food carts at other places where I've been. To see for this year, I said, even if it's not this year, next year,
Mhm.
we just would love to have one other. We would love to have two choices.
So. You guys.
We have no, it's Christy is our food cart. So it's still open. We could, if anyone wants to, I have zero bandwidth for that because there's so many other things going on, but it's absolutely still something that we could do if anyone finds somebody who by some miracle is not booked. We're
have had
more than
no
happy
luck.
to have them. But that's just, I'm choosing to not be too worried about that because I
Yeah.
think it will be fine either way. And maybe next year with her support, we can get another. But she was very, very kind about it. So yeah, that's the update on the guarantee. That yes, we could. We would need to find room for it in our budget. Okay. I think that's Arts at the Creek. Last year I went through and had everybody say when they could help out. This is Alicia's doing the volunteer, but we were talking about doing
So I'll be at the check-in desk in the morning, well, for vendors and volunteers and directing traffic a little bit.
could you guys just speak to your availability that day in terms of helping out? And we're thinking about setup and takedown will largely have the kids there, but that's a really helpful time. And then for a 2-hour chunk of that 12 to 2, 2 to 4, or 4 to 6, standing at the raffle snack table. And then we can cycle through the bubbles and rock painting. That's a little less priority.
Did we get confirmation from Labor Ready or whatever?
Yes.
Okay,
of
ready?
sorts. Yes.
Yes, yes, finally.
They'll be here.
They sent in they filled out the volunteer form, said they would be there at 9.
Amazing.
And said, did they specifically say they'd be there for
The morning
set
time
up
and the evening time.
and take down?
Yeah.
So yes, so they're 100% for 9 to noon and then, or 11:45, whenever. And then 5:45 to 7:15, and then I'm gonna send a follow-up email this
Thank you.
week.
Do we want to
About-
stoke the kids out at the end of the day and get them bevies and?
That was the next thing I was
pizza
gonna
or
say.
something?
I'm
Cool.
sending a follow-up email this week, asking them if they would like their pizza pre-tear down or post-tear down.
Cool.
And
What
then we will figure that out,
It-
depending on what
Could
they
you
say.
and Mark do a raffle snack table section
Morning.
morning?
Yeah.
The 12 to 2.
Bev said 12 to 2. Can I put you on 2 to 4?
I'll do 2 to 4.
Whatever you
They're coming as a duo, so that would be too many people.
I would do 2 to 4 with her, with
Okay.
old Bev, and me, holding
Bev,
it down, hardcore.
Bev and Alicia.
And that's 2 to 4, correct?
And then I can do the 4 to 6.
I'll do
You're gonna
that.
be a vendor. You're busy.
I'll do 9 to 9.
Yeah, you'll be there all day. I'm like, are you, I can't, are
My
you?
high school class has scheduled my 60th reunion on that day in North Dakota, so I don't think I'll be here.
Oh, so you won't be here at
I
all?
won't be here, no,
Okay.
sorry.
Where in North
that's the
Dakota?
I did,
thing about-
Bismarck, I did promise that this would be the only time that I had that conflict, but
That is sort of a one-time event.
Yes.
Okay, well, then maybe I'll see if I can recruit my husband to join me for the 4 to 6 time. I think my mom will be.
This year's
there
my
to go.
30th class year
Oh.
or anniversary.
Oh,
Mhm.
enjoy it.
I drove back to Minnesota for my 55th.
Yeah.
Once
Once you get over 20, they're a lot of fun.
Where'd you guys go?
Eagle Bend, right in the middle of the state with a hole in the map.
Beth, is there a chance that you could help Alicia at the check-in table?
Whatever you need.
Okay.
And so for when do you want me there?
9.
9.
Okay. It would be like 9 to 11 and then
2
2
to
to
11.
4. And the check-in table is just like for people to come to you and you to say,
They did that.
yeah, okay, that's why I was picturing you there. Okay, that makes me feel better. It's like, you did that before, great.
Again, 9.
So. Okay. And then we do have, I think we just have one person who signed up this year, but we didn't promote it as much, so I am gonna try to do one more push on Facebook for volunteers. But we have less to do this year, I think, since we're not running the tie-dye and stuff, we're running like a table. If we have extra people or family members that we could just, every once in a while, somebody goes in and checks to make sure that we have like the bubbles and rocks are, not being poured or thrown, whatever. Like a quick check-in over there will be,
Mike, I was actually gonna
Okay.
ask you, do you know if I could have one of your sons as a volunteer, perhaps with my son back at the kids' table area? Just to make sure, like she said, that they're not dumping the bubbles on the ground or throwing the rocks.
Yeah, we will have them down there all day. Kate works till 2:30, so I'll have them with me.
Okay, great.
And there's a good chance too, there's been this incoming group of 6th graders who are a gang.
Mhm.
So they're all gonna be down there all day. I think we could put a whole posse of kids. down
Okay,
there.
great, because I'd like to have Henry involved in some way, but I don't want to have
Love
to
that.
Henry can
stand
be the
over him
leader.
because then I might as well do it myself.
right, right. That would be great. I think if we set that up, it should be a sort of self-running area. We just make sure supplies are there and
Yeah.
that there's, some sort of voice of reason nearby-ish. Okay, and then the setup and takedown, we'll have them and then, I'll be there. Is there anyone else who's available more at the takedown at the end of the day?
I mean, I'm planning on being there all day. I'd like to probably take a break to eat at
Yeah.
some point, but I'll be back for,
So you, me and Mike will be
I
there
have
at
to
the end of
wrangle
the
my
day.
volunteers.
I do have we have that community room all through Sunday, and I think we did it on Monday. So if like things weren't super organized the night of, it would be okay to come back the next day to like deal with.
I will
putting
be
things in a
gone the
pile
next day.
Right,
That's so we're leaving early in the morning the next day, but yeah, I'll be there all day.
okay. Okay. So that's great, okay. I wrote all that down, and this might be a moot point, but I wanted to bring it up. The early childhood day is happening in August 16th from 9 to 11:30 with Todos Juntos, and they reached out to us wondering if we could table. I will be out of town, so I am unable. Is there anyone who would have the bandwidth to do that in mid-August?
What's the date?
It is August
Saturday,
16th.
16th. I can't, I won't be here.
I am gone
Yeah.
in a different way.
No, but I also
you want
found that.
buttons?
Yeah, I mean, that would just be, it would be like an information table and an activity.
I might be able to, I'd have to make some arrangements.
Is that,
But I
event?
get
It's
back to
only
you.
in the morning. Yeah,
It's 9 to 11:30.
Where at?
it's in the undercover area of Clackamas River.
Oh, okay, that was cool.
And we could do
Give me the address. You mean here?
Clackamas River
Clackamas River,
Elementary,
yep, just up on Main Street.
the
Okay.
school by the middle.
Oh,
school.
there's,
Mhm.
Yeah, the other
Okay.
elementary school.
okay, put me down.
So should I say yes tentatively or
Yes.
check?
Yes,
Is there anyone that would be able to help Bev so she's not all by herself? Anyone? Isabella?
What is it?
It would just be like 2.5 hours of like providing a kids activity, like doing buttons and drawing with kids. Maybe having a couple of our summer passports out and just hanging out and,
I think the buttons would work really well.
yeah,
They could color that and laminate it and wrap.
yeah.
And then-
Would
and
you
then
be up for doing that?
You have the donation jar for
August
the
16th.
bumper stickers and stuff.
We'll have to get together and get me the equipment, so,
Yeah.
okay.
So we'll wait till you check and then we can reach
But
out.
I just have to get some people to help out, not me, but.
Okay. Oh, you're
somebody
to help
else,
your,
but
help your people to help your people.
it's a different event.
Okay. Okay.
Can switch.
And then the last thing was the block printing workshop. Deborah, did you want to speak to that? Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah, I can try and remember.
I'm looking up while you're-
Nina Bradford, has done a block printing class at Spiral Gallery a couple times. They usually charge about $10 a person for it. It's been popular. They fill all their seats. But she would like to offer it for free to people taking it, with $100 stipend, which is right along the lines of what we have offered in the past anyways. So she approached me about doing it for July, and I told her that probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, July is a little-
Timeline for us, but that we might be interested in that going forward. I think she's still going forward with it for this month and left it kind of open, like they're willing to run it at Spiral Gallery. Either doing it the way they've done it before or with our sponsorship, so we just could decide if we want to sponsor that for $100 so that they could just make it a free class.
And then would
Yeah.
the, what would commission involvement be beyond cutting a check? Anything we want or nothing at all?
I think just cutting a check,
Oh.
but I mean, that's
That's an
something-
easy lift
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's an established class. They've run it before. They have all
So
the
I-
stuff they need for it.
I found the email. This is the proposal.
Okay. Like, was I close?
You're very close. Yeah,
Okay.
you're on it. The sponsor would give us $100 to pay for expenses, room rental and art supplies. Nina will make the flyer and announcement. The class will be for adults 15 years and up. Class limit would be 12 people. They will create cards. And it said the Art Smith from 1 to 4. Exact date TBA, and the sign up for the class will be at the Spiral, the Art Smith, and the library. Spiral has said they will only sponsor if they charge $15 a person, but they would like to do it for free.
Do we have money in our budget to do that? I think that's a great.
We specifically put
collaboration.
money in our budget for events like
Absolutely have
this.
money for doing workshop classes.
Yeah.
I would like
This seems like an easy
to
yes.
put a motion on the floor to do this. Yeah, that would be great.
I'll
I would
second.
love to do that.
Yeah, so those in favor of sponsoring
Spending
Nina Bradford's
$100,
workshop for
yep.
$100.
I just want to say that as a general principle, the more free things for the public that we can do, I think the better it suits our commission and our
I agree.
goal.
However, I would like to have some type of branding that this was sponsored by the Arts Commission. And I don't know if it's a bookmark or reminder of things coming up or whatever.
She said
In her
that,
promotion,
so
sorry.
because she needed to announce the class in the Spiral's monthly newsletter. She was not able to put it in because the deadline for the newsletter was at the end of June. So she said she would leave out who's sponsoring the class. And then after we vote, she will either put it she'll put us as the sponsor and then she'll put that on the flyer and go forward with that. So we would be on a flyer going forward.
That's fine.
But yes, I agree. We want to make sure we say, we're sponsoring this, and then we can
This is what we
share their Facebook posts as well.
Mhm.
Because they'll probably make a post about it.
No.
Especially when that was
Deborah.
part of
Thank
our year goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to ask Jerry something when it's.
Can we
time.
make the motion first?
Oh, yeah.
Call
let's-
for a motion.
Let's finish.
I think
Okay, Alicia made the
I
motion,
made the
Deborah
motion.
seconded.
Yep.
Those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the motion passes.
I
All
thought I
right.
read this, it's just housekeeping. I thought I read somewhere in reading the governance of city charter and how they work with what we're called a board rather than the commission and the documentation, that there's a quarterly report on how we're doing towards our goals. Have we already done that?
I
Are we
do
to
that
do it? Do
quarterly.
you? Okay, so that's been done. So
I do that quarterly. I show up to city council meetings and report on all of our things.
good. Well, then you can say we're checking this one.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're doing the
Good.
things. Yeah, that is something that, that I do. Okay, so, I think that was it on our official agenda. Al?
Ariella has her hand raised online.
Oh, Ariella's here. Hello, Ariella.
Hi, all. Glad to
Hello.
listen, and I wasn't able to make it in person today, but nice to be here with you virtually. I just think all these options that are happening are so awesome, and so congratulations to everybody. I was wondering, someone mentioned chalk art earlier, and I'm looping back to I'm like, oh right, I was going to try to put some chalk artists in touch with you or do some contact. Is that happening as part of Art at the Creek? Is that a separate thing? I just want to be able to be clear in my communications.
That is not happening.
Okay, all
You're
good.
just
Then that's even
doing a
clearer.
simple chalk giveaway for kids.
Great.
It was going to be part of the chalk walk,
Yeah.
which is like the chalk giveaway thing. And I
Got
think that we definitely are interested in promoting that more. Maybe next year if we did that in a little bit earlier. It was part of the chalk walk in previous years.
Got it. When is the chalk walk?
It's for what, the 5th through?
July 5th through Arts
Oh,
at
it's
the
this weekend.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but it's it goes for a couple of weeks and it's like the chalk giveaway over several weeks. It's not like a
Oh,
one weekend
okay.
thing.
Okay. Awesome. That sounds great. And then I was just wondering, Art at the Creek is awesome. Would someone want to post it on the Clackamas Arts Alliance calendar? I don't believe it's on there, and we'd love to help.
Yeah,
Get
I
the
have that
word
on my
out.
notes to do because
Great.
I looked at the digest and I was like, oh, we put our call for artists on there and then
Exactly.
didn't put the event on there. So that's on my.
Which happens. Perfect. I was like, I feel like I saw something on there, and it was exactly that. It was the call for artists.
Yeah.
But I just was looking at that date and I was like, oh, I don't see it there. I won't be able to make it this year because we're doing an event at the exact same time, unfortunately. But best of luck with it. I'm sure it'll be great.
Well, thank you so much.
Mhm. I think that was my only question. Yeah. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Before you start to adjourn, if you're going to, I would just like to bring this up. Deborah, the committee for selecting the poems for Poetry in Public Places had 2 or 3 that would have duplicated the authors. Is that correct? I would like to move that next year's committee for selection should contact those people for those particular poems to see if they're still available to start things off. That's a motion I'd like to make.
Is that? does
Do we
that
need
have
to
be
do
a
I
motion?
don't know if that needs to be a motion.
Well, I think we should have
Record of it.
some
Want me to-
guidance on it
Why don't
because,
you put it?
because we'll have other people.
Yeah, I'll pull
I
the
don't remember.
duplicate ones and I'll make a
Let's-
list and I'll send it over.
Alicia,
Yep.
maybe that could go in the notes
Oh,
and just say that
Mm.
as plans for the next incarnation of Poetry in Public, because we don't know if that's happening next year
Yeah,
or 2
and
years.
we don't know
from
who's
now.
gonna be the selection committee and
Jesse, so we can
put
them in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
and
can
I'll
be
save
on the
them.
record.
but I would like
The
to
art
have that
department
as
too.
a beginning point for possible.
to reach
Absolutely.
out
Yeah.
next year.
Reach out next
For
time.
the particular poems that were selected this year.
Yeah.
Yep, I can do that.
I have a long list of community updates and arts opportunities
Sorry, I just
That's
wanted
okay.
to, I just wanted to bring something up before we got to the community updates and opportunities, especially with Ariela Sophia online with chalk artists. So summer celebration, past years, there was always a great big, I don't know if it was a maze or
Mandala thing. Yeah.
right down in the middle of, right in the intersection down there. And I know it's probably too late to get to do something like that this year, but maybe plan something, similar to that, maybe in the big opening of the parking lot over on the, the side with the amphitheater, and the library, something that's not permanent, chalk art. Maybe have some,
But not used this year.
invite a professional chalk artist to come down and do something big, something grand, down there. Maybe, I always loved down in the intersection, having that, having that work of art.
That was cool because it lasted
temporary.
for a while after too, as like
Yeah.
a memory of what happened.
Yeah, so I mean, it might be too late to do something like that this year, but I always loved it. I always loved seeing it, just that big work of art in the middle of town, so.
Yeah, I love, it'd actually be cool to do along like the sidewalk along Wade Creek too, because there's all those sidewalk panels. It'd be cool to do on the sidewalk too. That'd be neat. Okay, anything else before I quickly go over this last? Spiral Gallery is having a happening thing next weekend. They're doing the second Friday instead of the first. They're welcoming 6 new artists, including Isabella's grandmother I saw on there. Wendy, who's been part of our events for quite some time. Long list of wonderful new artists. Clackamas County Cultural Coalition is seeking a volunteer board member. The Clackamas County Arts Alliance, there's so many different calls for art. I wasn't sure which ones to put on here. Honestly, there were so many different calls for upcoming shows. I thought that was really, really cool that Oregon City is actually doing a 6x6 art show. A long time ago, I talked about the like $5 art show that they did at my dad's museum, but they are doing everything. It's like everything's in a 6x6 and they're inviting people to create these 6x6. Something like that I think would be so cool to do in the future. Huh?
For one of the art in the library
That would,
displays.
that would be really
Yes.
cool. I love that. It'd be really cool if we could do that and then it could lead up to like a sale of it or something like that, presentation, a sale. I put that on there because I thought that was really neat. And then they're putting it on display at their arts festival in August, which is also down here too, their Festival of the Arts. And the Porch Fest is happening in August too, which I know we'd talked about how Neat Milwaukee's done that, Oregon City has done that. Just sort of wanted to bring some attention to it because they're actually combining their Porch Fest with the Festival of the Arts, which I think is pretty neat, sort of making the whole town involved. And then the very last one was the Imperfecta Gallery. I just thought that this was a neat opportunity focused on elevating the work of women and minority artists. I've not had a chance to see the gallery, but I poked around their website. It just looked like a pretty neat up and coming gallery that's happening. They're looking for more collaborating artists. And then I noticed there's not necessarily related to the arts, but there was something on the library calendar that I was going to put on that was talking about like the history of Estacada that's coming up like June. And I saw that and
Appropriate to be announced. Let me see.
right. So I saw it and was like, oh, I should have put it on the, I feel like it's the 20. They're doing a talk at the
It's
library about the history of
Steph.
Estacada.
Is it the 23rd? I think I just saw that during the course of this meeting.
You know more than us, Ariella.
Well, this is the benefit of being on Zoom, right? Is that it facilitates multitasking
Yeah.
positively and negatively.
July 23rd from 6 to 7, 120th anniversary event. It will be people from the arts community speaking about the history of arts in Estacada. That's a Zach program. That's really all I know about it.
There it is.
But yes, it will be there and it should be really, really interesting.
Do they want people to register for that or you just show up?
Nope, just show up.
All right. I knew I was looked at it. It's like it was right after I'd already sent the agenda out, but okay. Okay. Yes, Ariella.
Sorry, just unmuting. I just love that you brought up the 6x6 show, and I think they're just a little more insight. There was a big 6x6 show in Oregon City, put together by the equivalent organization, their Arts Commission, and that one was specifically like a fundraiser for arts and culture programs in schools. So it was, I mean, I can put you in touch if anyone wants to know how that went. I think that they had a really awesome event. I think they were like, oh, not all the art sold, because of course not all the art sold, but it was really special. And then it's bizarrely like, you all are not the only ones, and you, Jesse, are not the only person who seems really interested in this. Like Wilsonville Library does maybe a 3x3 show. Lake Oswego Library does something similar. And then there's a new gallery that just opened like in April in Milwaukee. And I went by, that's Toolbox Gallery. And I went by there yesterday, and they're gearing up for the same sort of idea, another 3x3
Awesome.
show. So, I mean, it's really democratic, right? Like most people feel like, oh, I can fill in, like 9 square inches of artwork, right? Or I can fill in 36 square inches of artwork. So you get a lot of community engagement, which is so lovely. And it's, yeah. So, power to you if you want to do that.
Yeah, I just think it's such a cool idea. I think it's much less intimidating for people than like having to do big, huge paintings, doing
Mhm.
something small and fun.
And the
Um,
material cost is low too, right?
Yeah. I would love to if we did something like that. It'd be cool to do something involved with the schools as well.
Mhm.
And if I remember, Westland's site said it could be on any medium. It's just not painting. Could be anything.
Yeah, it has to be that, the size
the
is the
size, yeah.
specific. Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, but you can do collage, you can do mosaic. I mean, if you want to,
You
why
do
not?
fabrics, whatever.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I love that. Well, thank you for sharing. I think that's a really neat. Also many ideas. Okay, well, does anyone else have anything else burning that we need to bring up?
I'd just like to thank Deborah for her service and
Yes.
appreciate being involved with you.
So the 6x6 art shows, not really done.
But
It's hard to picture the commission without you on it.
Yeah, being on this commission, being the liaison for this commission for 7 years now, and you being involved in the majority of that, I just really appreciate and the energy that you bring to this commission. So.
All right, thank you, Deborah. Thank you, everyone. Call this meeting to order at 7:38. Adjourning the meeting.
adjourn.
Guys, I'm never gonna get it right.